I'm Brandon Boner from OnFocus, and we are at the grounds of the Wood County Farm Technology Days. We are at the corner of 6th and Central to get a first-hand look at what's taking place here on the grounds. I'm with Mike Siebel. How you doing today, Mike?
Real fine, Brandon.
Mike, first off, tell me what your role is with Farm Technology Days.
Okay. My role is that I am vice chairman of the show. I am also on the executive committee, and the subcommittee that I work with is the grounds committee.
So we are here on the grounds, and actually the ground that we're staying on is known as Tent City. We're kind of like building a small city here. Is that correct?
Correct. Currently, we are going to be having 70 acres of exhibits and tents. We're going to end up having somewhere around 700 exhibitors as we go through. And we've only had the grounds 2 weeks, and like I say, lots of tents, lots of buildings going up by some of the construction firms, and a lot will happen starting next week, July 1st, where it really gets hectic.
So the forefathers of this country, when they started putting cities together, they had a lot of things to consider. And I got to imagine there's a lot of things being considered here as far as infrastructure goes. Let's talk a little bit about utilities.
Farms in Wood County, there was an application process. So we were fortunate there were 6 farms that applied. Any of the 6 would have worked well. This particular location was chosen because we wanted to try to have as much higher ground as possible in case we get rain. We didn't want to get rained out any of the 3 days. So that's how we had here. But yes, we end up having generators brought in. So we end up having electricity throughout Tent City. We also have Wi-Fi. We have internet. We've worked very closely with the Marshfield utilities so that we can go and get all of these different things to coordinate.
So you said over 70 acres of land here is at Tent City. You know, looking at the full scope, if obviously those at home that are watching this, it's a lot of ground to work up. My question is, how many people does it take? I mean, you have less than a month to put this all together.
Okay. There's been a lot of coordination over the last 3 years, and of course, as we've gotten closer to the show, a lot more. All totaled, counting then the food service staff that will be serving people when they're out here on the grounds, and that's the largest committee. But we'll have somewhere around 1,700 people involved somewhere in the preparation, during the show, and in the cleanup after the show.
Yeah, that's a good part. People forget sometimes when the show is done, we got to clean up. Now, you mentioned, and we saw when we arrived here, that we have a delivery station. We're starting to see some of the implement get delivered. When do vendors really start arriving here?
There's certain dates that they need to abide by, and so that's why equipment is kept at the ground station so that we can mow this. We have to remember this is a hay field that we are working with, so it's not perfectly level ground. The Hyman family, Sternweiss family have done fantastic with this, but we then have to mow it. And so we've got batwing mower, we've got the zero-turn mowers, that sort of thing. So we will start moving equipment on here next Monday, July 2nd, I believe that is. And then the different reps can come and begin arranging it. If we move it on too early, then the alfalfa ends up growing too fast and gets quite tall by the time we have the show. So we try to keep as much off as possible until then so we can get that final mowing done, and then people can come in and get things set up.
Stop into any of our locations at Auburndale, Marshfield, Withee, Greenwood, Roselleville, Stevens Point, and Wisconsin Rapids, and talk to our friendly personal bankers who are here to help you. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
So we can see that we're getting a lot of the tents put up. It looks like all the different areas are all staked out. We got the road signs up. We're bringing in some of the utilities. You mentioned on Monday we're going to start bringing in additional support for the vendors that are arriving. What's some of the final touches that you're going to be doing in those last few days?
Okay. Well, the last few days is when the vendors come onto their ground. They set up their exhibit the way that they want, and with the heavy equipment, they sometimes then need us to go and move it so it is positioned the way that they want it. Second thing then is a lot of wood chips are used so that the visitors know kind of where the walkway is to get into their booth and that sort of a thing. And so we'll be doing a lot of chips. In the past, we have used around 2,500 cubic yards of wood chips to go and put down through all the different tents and displays here at the show.
So 2,000 cubic yards, I mean, that's similar to what, about 100 quad axle dump trucks?
Okay. It ends up being, we can get 100 cubic yards on a completely filled semi. So we've got somewhere around 25 semis that come in full of those shavings. Yes, shavings and chips.
Well, that is absolutely amazing. Well, I'm excited to see the progress so far. Are we ahead of schedule, behind schedule, or are we right on the nut?
Okay. Well, we were fortunate in that the 5 inches of rain that we had came early, and since then it has been dry. So we were behind, but because of the great volunteers that we had, so we stayed off the grounds the first couple days. A week ago, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we asked people to come. We did some things by hand rather than by machine. And basically, as we are speaking today, we are caught up.
Well, that is exciting news. Again, I'm Brandon Boner for OnFocus. We are at Wood County Farm Technology Days right here outside of Marshfield, taking a look at Tent City and everything they got going on. They're going to be opening up in about 2 weeks for visitors. So if you're watching and you want to get down and see Farm Technology Days and learn everything that's taking place here, we invite you to take a look at the link below, as we have a special article about what more you can learn with Farm Technology Days. We'll be back here probably in a few days here to see the progress kind of come together before we open up the event. I'm Brandon Boner for OnFocus, and thank you for tuning in.